Alright, welcome to Galatoire's. I'm Chef Landry, and I'm going to be walking you through sauteed soft-shell crabs today. We serve a lot of local seafood here at Galatoure's. Soft-shell crabs are available right now. It's summertime. The season started a little late this season. We had trouble getting them for Easter. Quite a few upset customers about that, but we have them now. They're plentiful right now, and so that's why we're going to feature them. As you can see here, this is a dozen soft-shell crabs. A little expensive this year since the storm, but definitely worth the price. And it's actually a fairly simple dish to create for the home cook. We're just going to do a little pan saute, make a little Meuniere butter right in the same pan, so it's a nice, easy, quick pan sauce. And then we'll take something simple, make it a little more elegant by turning it into soft-shell crab amandine with some jumbo lump crab meat on top. So let's get started. Right here, soft-shell crabs. You can always tell the sex of a crab from the underneath. Doesn't matter whether you have male or female, but you do have to prepare a crab before you saute it. So on the underneath, you're just going to take this little flap off. We have a little. And then you're also going to want to lift up each corner, and those are the lungs, also called the dead men, and you're going to remove those just that simple with your fingers. Same on this side. Remove the lungs. And then also just on this little front end, the face and the eyes, that can be a little crunchy to the taste sometimes. So we're just going to take our knife and remove that. Just one little cut, and we're ready to go. And here we just have regular old all-purpose flour, and we're going to season that up with some salt and pepper. Salt and pepper really doesn't stick to the soft-shell crab all that well. If you were just to season it, you know, it is still a shell, so there's not going to be any real way to get those seasonings unless we really dredged it in some heavy seasoning. But we're just going to go for some real light flavors. So we're just going to dust those in flour. Those can just sit for 1 second. We're going to use a French steel pan today, but really any kind of saute pan, nice and shallow that you can get pretty hot, is going to be the ideal cooking vessel. And here in this pot over here, we just have some clarified butter. That's just when you melt butter until the milk solids rise to the top. We've already skimmed that off, the water's evaporated. And this, by cooking in clarified butter, it raises the smoking point of regular butter. You'll see when we make the sauce, whole butter tends to brown pretty quickly, whereas if you clarify it first, it's a great tasting fat to cook in. If you don't have the time to clarify your butter at home, you know, vegetable oil, any kind of cooking oil is going to be fine. Our pan's getting hot, and we're just going to take one little ladleful of that clarified butter. We have our crab. We're just going to fold these claws right in. These crabs don't take all that long. The shells are nice and soft. Sometimes if they're allowed to mature too long, they can get a little papery. But these are going to be nice, real easy to eat soft-shell crabs. And you can see the butter isn't browning, and that's because we've already taken the solids out of it. So clarified butter, obviously, butter tastes better than oil does when it comes to cooking something like this. So that's what we've chosen here. And it's just going to take a few minutes. We're going to brown it on both sides. Tell you a little bit about the sauce. We're just going to do a classic Meuniere sauce. And Meuniere comes from the term miller's wife, which means we've dusted in flour. When we're finished cooking these crabs, you're going to see there's some sediment left in the bottom of the pan, and that's going to be the flour that's fallen off of the crab, kind of browned a little. So what we'll do is we're going to add some whole butter to that, allow that to brown, and it'll start to get a real nice nutty smell called beurre noisette, brown butter. to stop the butter from turning into a beurre noir or black butter, we're going to add an acid. In this case, we add lemon juice and red wine vinegar, and that'll actually stop the butter from getting any browner. As the butter browns, it'll go from a brown butter, which is nice and nutty, to a black butter. And the black butter is a little more bitter than what we're looking for. So you can see these are browning up nicely. This is the top shell right here. The underneath side is actually the side we're going to serve up. It's a little easier to get into the crab if you serve the belly side up, because the belly's a little more tender than that top shell. But this is what makes a dish like this great for a home cook, is that you can do it all in one pan, which is nice. And then we've done one step ahead of time, and that's we just took some sliced blanched almonds and toasted those off in an oven real quick, just a few minutes, 350 degrees. But obviously one of the most popular dishes at Galatoire is trout meunière amandine, and this is just another version of that, softshell crab meunière amandine. Just a few more minutes. As you can see, the whole time I've left the flame on pretty high, about a medium high. If you feel that the flour is going to brown too quickly before the crab is cooked all the way through, you can just lower the flame when you're cooking the second side, and that'll allow it to cook all the way through before your flour starts to blacken. Got a nice brown color on both sides. I'm just going to cook that for one more second. Some of the juices are starting to come out. The crabs right now have a lot of fat in them right now, which is going to add a ton of flavor. These are large crabs. Softshell crabs can be bought in a bunch of different sizes: medium, large, jumbo. Because we always give 2 to an order, we go with the large. The jumbo crabs would swallow the plate, be entirely too much to eat. But as you can see, there's little bits of flour left in the pan, and we have here, this is just some whole butter. We actually are going to use salted butter for this. In the grocery store you can buy butter salted or unsalted. This is going to be a finished sauce. We're going to use a little salted butter. Again, we're going to go with medium to high heat, and you'll see how quickly the whole butter will start to brown. And I know you can't smell it, but if you could, you'd smell the butter go from just that raw butter smell to a nice nutty flavor. As soon as you get that nice nutty smell is when you're going to add your acid. Here I have some red wine vinegar, some fresh lemons. The only trick to this is, as you add the acid to this hot butter, the butter's going to want to foam up in the pan. So before we do that, we're going to turn the heat off and let it rest for just a second. I'm sure you can see it's starting to get a nice brown color to it. You just stir it up with a spoon, you'll see. We're going for a nice dark brown. We're going to turn that heat off. And kind of keep your hand high above the pan, because the butter is going to sizzle a little. And that'll stop the butter from browning any further. You don't want to get any seeds in there, but if you do, you can always just take them out with a spoon. That was 1 lemon, and we're just going to add about a tablespoon of red wine vinegar. Taste it to see if it needs any more salt. Probably not. Actually, you can take just a little bit. Just a tap of salt. You see as it comes onto this white plate. It's a nice deep brown. Very pretty Meunier sauce. And very simple garnish, just a little chopped parsley, some lemon wheels, and that could actually be your finished dish. Nice, simple, elegant, delicious. Any guest you were cooking for would be very impressed with this. But like I said, we can take it one step further. And we're going to garnish it with some almonds, some toasted almonds and some jumbo lump crab meat. And again, we're just going to put a little clarified butter, not too much. And here we have some jumbo lump crab meat. Crab meat comes sold quite a few different ways. Jumbo lump is obviously the most expensive. This is the lump right behind the back leg. You can see these are nice large lumps, nice and sweet. Again, crabs are definitely in season right now. This is the height of the season for them. And in your grocery store, you know, jumbo lump crab meat, don't be surprised if you're going to end up paying around $20, $25 for this one. So we're just going to put a little bit of jumbo lump crab meat in our butter. And you don't have to cook this long. The more you cook it, the more it'll tend to shred. So we're basically just going to toss this to warm it through. Again, we're going to season with just a little salt and pepper. And again, this can be done over a real low heat. Just want to get the butter warm. Just want to warm the crab meat through. These are those toasted almonds we were talking about earlier. Again, very simple, 350 degrees, just a few minutes. I'm going to sprinkle those crabs with almonds. Warm through. Since we already have the Meunier sauce on the plate, we're going to try and drain just the butter off and then garnish that with some nice jumbo lump crab. And there we go. Finished dish here at Galatoire's, sauteed soft-shell crab, Meunier amandine with a jumbo lump crab meat garnish. Try it at home, nice and simple. Y'all enjoy. Of course, no meal is complete without a nice glass of wine to go with it. One of the wines by the glass we feature here at Galatoire's is J. Pinot Gris. This is going to be a nice, light, great summertime wine that will go very well with the soft-shell crab. You don't want anything too big. The butter and the sauce is going to coat the mouth. We want something a little more refreshing to go with it. So don't forget, no meal complete without a nice glass of wine to accompany it.